Welcome to Channel 24. President Donald Trump says he personally asked Putin to pause strikes on Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities for 1 week because of the extreme cold, and that Putin agreed. But even as we speak, Russian drones are already in the sky over eastern Ukrainian cities. So what are these agreements really worth, and who are they meant to convince? Michael Sheitelman, political analyst, is joining me now to break this down and look at the bigger picture. Michael, good evening.
Good evening, Natalia.
Michael, so today the internet in the morning seems to have exploded with posts from Russian bloggers and propagandists claiming that some kind of energy truce is being prepared. Then it was confirmed by American side, but Russian officials weren't specific. Peskov wasn't that specific. So is any kind of a deal like this is actually possible?
Possible, yeah, because during our war we had a lot of this kind of ceasefires, not only which was officially proclaimed, like for example about a year ago it was a ceasefire at the end of April, which was proclaimed by President Putin and was supported by President Zelenskyy. But during the war we had long months of ceasefires of this kind. And we knew about that only afterwards, not during this ceasefire. But we felt that physically, we are a citizen of Ukraine, we felt physically that, yeah, it is ceasefire. I remember very long periods in 2023, for example, when there were not any strike on energy sector, and was some period between summer 24 and this winter. Mostly, almost 1 year. Almost 1 year, we have not strikes exactly against the energy sector. Not the deep strikes. Deep strikes we had, but not against the energy sector. Last summer, for example, Russians struck a lot gas production, Ukrainian gas fields, gas production, but not the producers of energy. But they started again. So I believe that we had a lot of this kind of deals, and there's a lot of contacts, non-official contacts between intelligence services of Russia and Ukraine on the level of heads of these intelligence services. So this is not anything new. This is not anything unique, I would say.
When I was reading the comment of the American president, he said that Putin promised me not to strike on Ukrainian city. Do you think this is the first time when Putin promised something? Like, wasn't shady, but just...
Oh. In this case, then President Putin promised something, and especially then Trump said that Putin promised, it was nothing. It was just nothing. I more believe in the meeting in Abu Dhabi. This Abu Dhabi negotiation process, it is not that is look like, I would say. Because, by the way, the speaker of Kremlin, Mr. Peskov, today said that we have two absolutely different and absolutely parallel, I don't know, parallel, not groups, but parallel, I don't know, ideas of negotiation, slots of negotiation. One slot is in Istanbul, and this is political negotiation, because in this negotiation there are political advisors, Medinsky, for example. And President Putin said, when he gave a speech in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, he said that his only representative in negotiation is Mr. Medinsky. Yes, it is strange because Mr. Medinsky is just the novelist and not politician, but he is the only officially appointed representative of President Putin, not anybody else. Anybody else, any generals or any ministers of foreign affairs, were just like a private person, and maybe they just, I don't know, appointed by anybody else. For example, maybe these guys in Abu Dhabi were appointed by Russian army, but not by President Putin personally. So in Istanbul, we had a political negotiation between Russia and Ukraine, and we discussed political questions about independence, territories, and other relationship between Ukraine and Russia. And this negotiation in Abu Dhabi, traditionally, this is a negotiation, it was a negotiation between heads of intelligence services. And This time, also, Russian delegation is the delegation of Russian intelligence service. It is strange that Ukrainian delegation looks different. Ukrainian delegation consists of head of chief of office, Mr. of President office, Mr. Budanov, and of some uh, Mr. Arahami, whose role is very minor, like
Absolutely.
chief of I don't know, the chief, not chief of party, chief of the fraction in parliament of one of political parties. So he is not a guy with big position. Yeah.
I wanted
But
to,
but
yeah.
but I wanted to say that in Abu Dhabi, it is absolutely reasonable to say that in Abu Dhabi they discuss this military question, like, for example, uh, ceasefire on energy.
That was my next question because regarding Abu Dhabi, I've heard that Kaya Kallas, she was saying that sending GRU generals instead of diplomats shows Moscow is not serious about the talks.
Yeah, with all respect to Kaya Kallas, I believe she is not followed all this negotiation process in Abu Dhabi,
Okay.
because we are looking separately on the last process, the last meetings in weekend and the next meeting on the next weekend, but it is not started now. This process in Abu Dhabi started when Mr. Budanov was on his previous position as a chief of Ukrainian intelligence service, and he was initiator of this process. And this process not stopped during last year. So during last year, Mr. Budanov met his counterpart, his Russian counterpart in Abu Dhabi. And now everybody thinks that in Abu Dhabi there is some political negotiation process. Why? Because, for example, the Stephen Witkoff and Jared Kushner were witnesses of this process. But you heard yesterday or a couple of days ago, then Marco Rubio, state secretary, he was on hearings in Senate, and he said that on the next meeting in Abu Dhabi, we will not participate. He said that maybe somebody from Americans will participate, but not Witkov, not Kushner, because this is not a political stuff. So this is not the place for political, not a place for diplomacy. This is a place for intelligence. And diplomacy track, or yeah, let's say this track, diplomacy track now just don't exist.
Michael, the Kremlin is once again inviting Volodymyr Zelenskyy to come to Moscow to meet dictator Putin, and they are saying that Moscow is the only place that they are willing to consider. So let's be honest, I mean, these messages don't really seem aimed at Zelenskyy, do they? I mean, aren't they meant to shape the narrative of who is open to talks and who isn't?
Their idea, maybe the best answer to this initiative of Russians would be why? Why? Why you are saying that the only place is Moscow? The globe is very big.
Why not Kyiv? Okay, let's come to
No,
Kyiv.
no. Kyiv, it will be joke. But
Okay.
if we give the not joke answer, but serious answer,
Okay.
the serious answer could be why you are saying that the only place is Moscow. The globe consists of lot of countries and lot of cities. So what is the reason? Could you bring any reason why you say that the meeting could be only in Moscow? The real answer is that they are playing that we are empire and we are empire and Putin is Tsar and Tsar not going anywhere and President Zelensky is suzerain of this Tsar and suzerain should come to the Tsar. But this is the Game of Thrones. And in modern politics, we have not thrones, not games, not empires. We have two different countries, just Russia and Ukraine. And this is very similar countries with very similar history. Russian Federation is 36 years old. Ukraine is 35 years old. So this is the same countries. And we have no reason why only Moscow could be the place of meeting. Why President Trump could come to Bucharest or Budapest or to
Budapest,
Anchorage,
right.
to Budapest or to Anchorage, and President Putin can't come there. And then President Putin initiated at first, it was in May last year, he initiated a direct negotiation between Ukraine and Russia. He said the place of meeting will be Istanbul. Okay, said Zelensky, I'm coming to Istanbul. But President Putin did not come to Istanbul. So he is playing Game of Thrones, and we are not playing these games. We are ready to meet in any neutral country like Emirates. It could be again Istanbul or Ankara, and there are a lot of another neutral countries. So there is not a lack of neutral countries. By the way, today Kremlin speaker Mr. Peskov said, but we are sorry that we did not hear any answer from Zelensky side. But they received that answer in November. Then in November we also it was long time ago. It was in September. You remember in August last year there was a meeting in the White House of European leaders and Zelensky and Trump, and they together called Mr. Putin and invited him to meet with Mr. Zelensky. And Trump said that okay, yeah, Putin is ready to meet Zelensky. And then, first time, Putin said that the only place is Moscow, and Zelensky answered that time that it is unprecedented and unacceptable because Russia is the territory of aggressor state, and the meeting could be only in neutral territory, so any state except of Russia and Belarus as a participants of this war. So why we should give the new answer for the same offer?
But could this also be a way for Putin, I mean this energy ceasefire and this invitation thing, to keep Trump's, attention, to show some movements so Washington does not start saying Russia is blocking peace? Because remember, American president not only once was stressing like nothing is happening between Ukraine and Russia, Russia is doing nothing. So they are just, playing this game, saying some empty words.
Yes, absolutely. We are playing this game, and today's claims by Peskov and by Foreign Minister Lavrov, they says that we are not serious, as Kaya Kallas said. For example, not only because they sent some military guys to Abu Dhabi, but today, for example, Foreign Minister Mr. Lavrov says we never heard about any security guarantees of United States towards Ukraine. We don't know about that. We never have seen any documents. We never have seen any documents about that. So how it could happen? Why we were witnesses of these meetings of Mr. Vitkov with President Putin, and they said that they discussed some peace plan of 27 points, and this 27 points peace plan, they were security guarantees of United States and Europe. And they say now that no, we did not see that. And we are in very, uncertain position in this case, because Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, Mr. Sibiga, said in an interview this week that our plan is to sign agreement with United States, and United States will sign agreement with Russia. And this construction will be the I don't know, peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, without the direct contact and without the direct contract. But now it sounds senseless, absolutely senseless and absurd. So how it works? We signed something with United States, but Russians never heard about that. Russians never have seen any documents. So what we are signed with United States, and how the Russian will stop fire when we, Ukraine, will sign some agreement with United States. So it looks like, Kafkian scenario, which is absolutely uncertain. And now, by the way, we are waiting not only for explanation from American side, but also for some explanation from Foreign Ministry of Ukraine. What they meant, then they say that we will have agreement with United States. and Russians, they never heard about that. And by the way, yesterday we heard Marco Rubio in Senate, and he says that the agreement about the guarantees is ready, but this agreement will work only after ceasefire. So ceasefire is not part of the guarantees agreement. So what is first, guarantees agreement or ceasefire? And where we are, on which page we are now in this negotiation? Nobody knows now.
Well, yes, Michael, that's a very great point, actually. What's coming first? From my perspective, and logic, it should be ceasefire and the agreement, right?
Yes,
Or no?
but if we sign the agreement only with American side and not with Russian,
So what's the
so
point?
what is ceasefire? Who will stop the fire? Americans?
Americans. Yeah. Well, I was reading that Russian propaganda briefly admit that Ukraine sank the cruiser Moskva, and then they briefly deleted the story. What is the propaganda angle behind it and here?
You know, this is a very funny story, really, because this warship Moskva was sunk about 3 years ago in April 2022, and during all of this period, Russians, they never, I don't know, never said openly that what happened with this warship. But this week, some regional court inside the Russian Federation made a court sentence, about this event. And in this court sentence, by the way, in Moscow City Court, they decided that the decision of court was that the guilty of this event is one Ukrainian officer, really one Ukrainian officer, is sank the biggest Russian ship in the Black Sea, and now he has to pay the penalty to Russian Federation of $28 million for this Russian warship.
Yeah.
This is absolutely Orwell or Kafka or somebody. Then during the war, you fire on the Russian warship, and you should pay now the value of this warship. This is funny, but it was the formal procedure in Russian court. But Russian court, by Russian law, published that. Usually they don't publish any news about war, but the court is the citizen court. This is not military special court, and they published their sentence. So now you know all the details. For example, that during this incident, I mean in good sense, the incident, 21 Russian sailmen they killed, and more than 20 injured, and some more they disappeared. Let's say just disappeared, and this is good news. So now officially we know that Russia lost more than 50 sailmen in this incident, and officially they lost the biggest warship in Black Sea.
Yes, maybe that's the reason why they have admitted it. Because for me, it's super bizarre
They
and
did not
strange.
admit, they did not admit it, but the court published the sentence.
Yeah, the
By
court.
the way, after 1 day, just after 1 day, the court take out this publication. But still it was obviously it was screenshotted, and everybody knows that this is the official decision of Russian court. So Russia is big bureaucratic system. This is not only Mr. Putin, and not only Putin takes the decisions. This is the big bureaucratic system. And the big bureaucratic system, if you are the chief of army or chief of Russian Navy, for example, and you lost the biggest warship, So somebody should pay for that. Or you, or your Ukrainian counterpart should pay for it. And how you do that? You are going to the court, to the civil court, and says, "Wow, we lost our flagmanship." Yeah. So was the bureaucratic procedure, and during this bureaucratic procedure, they published it. By the way, during the war, Russia changed a lot of local law system. Only because of that, because in many cases, by the law, it was necessary to publish the decisions of court, for example, or I don't know, some limitation of gas supply or oil supply or something, and some limitation on money and etc. etc. And budget, for example, budget. By the way, they made the budget as secret information now. Now it is classified. Russian budget now is classified. Before the war, it was not classified. And from these figures, we knew, for example, how people they lost. Because you can know by the payments to the widows how many people Russia lost on the war. And then in first year, we saw by the statistics that it was something like 100,000 people, 100,000 payments to the widows of Russian soldiers. So everybody knew how many people Russia lost. And this was the reason why they closed the information, classified the information about their budget.
And another good news, 14 European countries say that they will stop the shadow fleet in the Baltic Sea. Is that a good news for you? And will this really hit Russian oil exports, or will Moscow find another way to go through?
It is, yes, good news, but they don't say we will stop that. I read exactly this paper very carefully. I studied that. It was very interesting to understand what exactly the decision. That is more proclamation than the decision. This is not a law. This is more proclamation to other countries, to the world countries, to all the participants of the world fleet, let's say. Because what is the declaration inside? The declaration is Russian Federation is not follow the international fleet laws, and Russian Federation. This is very difficult to subscribe that. Russian Federation, they make the fake flags for the ships and make the fake coordinates, fake shortly speaking, they sent the fake signals to satellites about the fleet where it located now.
Oh yes, I think they're jamming GPS system somehow. Yes,
no, that is not exactly GPS system.
no,
Why?
okay.
This is the special system for civil fleet, and this is like in civil aviation, for example, we have this IATA system, which is the system of all the aviation, and in the Navy we have the similar system. I just don't know the name because who knows? Yeah, this is not. We are not of people who I'm not the sales. I'm not from this industry. Yeah, but they have an analog system, and Russia just cracked that, and they set fake coordinates, and they used double flags on the fleet. They have double registration. The same ship registered twice in two different countries, and they change it. So in one harbor, for example, they put the oil to the Russian ship. It goes to the sea, to the open sea, and change the flag, and change the name, and change the registration. And now this is the ship of Argentina, for example. And ship of Argentina is not under sanctions. This name and this number. So that is the fake this is a big Russian fake. And yeah, we have only 14 countries who signed this agreement. But this agreement generally is not, the proclamation is not towards Russia. Russians know what they do. But this is towards big world countries who uses the ocean. to Japan, to China. China does not like that because these Russian actions, they crack all the international system of fleets. And this is very bad to international trade. And who is the main interessants of international trade? It's United States, China. That's it. That's it. China is the main interessant of international trade. And the Chinese, they don't like these actions by Russia. And what 14 countries said, they mostly documented the facts about what Russia does in Baltic Sea and North Sea, etc. And they says, yeah, that we claims that you will follow these laws. We don't say we will stop your tankers. They don't see that. Because, according to international law, they have a right to stop these tankers. So we don't need to sign this agreement. So this is like more framework agreement and not a new military union. But after France, as you know, stopped a first Russian tanker in the Mediterranean Sea, and these 14 countries which signed that, this is the countries of the Baltic Sea and this north part of Europe, let's say. France, Poland, Germany, Belgium, Iceland, UK, and Baltic states and Scandinavian states. So they declare, not this is not the agreement, this is declaration. They declare that we are ready to act against Russian faked fleet. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that the international journalists were analyzing satellite images next to India, that a lot of Russian tankers, oil tankers, are standing in the water and they're just moving direction because India is not accepting them because of the sanctions. They're moving to China or to Oman, to Java, so they are just not going to India. I don't know. I don't believe that India will step back, seriously. But they definitely...
it is also good news that they stepped the way they stand now, because when you have this huge tanker and you have an oil in huge tanker, so each day when you stay, this is huge cost. This is absolutely huge cost. And this cost is the cost for Russian budget. So, when you stay, for example, 60, 70 days with your fleet, so you lose more than the oil costs. So it is best not to product this oil when stay near Indian Harbor.
Michael, just finally, I've heard a lot of noise that this week was about a Trump-Putin photo in the White House. I mean, they knew the internet gonna blow from this photo, and is that a deliberate informational push?
My great hope, but President Trump put this photo with Mr. Putin, and on the next photo on the same wall is the photo of President Trump with his granddaughter. Mm-hmm. So I hope that he thought that this is his grandson about Putin. He is some small guy, and maybe he just dismissed. But seriously, it is very sad news when, we know this kind of people who put the pictures with some famous people, but usually you put, not me, but this kind of people, they put pictures with another person who is more famous than you, or more important person. For example, I saw when I visited cabinets of my friends, I saw the pictures with Pope or with British Queen, for example, or with some rock star. Yeah. So in this case, it means that President Trump thinks that Putin is more important than Trump, and Putin is more famous than Trump, and the greatest, more great than Trump, and this is very sad fact.
Yeah, absolutely, you're right. Actually, it's a very dangerous way of thinking for American president.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, Michael, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Nataliia.
Yeah, and hope to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.